Welcome to Movie Division. Today I'm going to recap the family comedy movie entitled Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Spoilers ahead, so watch out. As the movie opens, Puss in Boots tells the story of a shooting star that fell from the sky and landed in an unidentified location. According to the legend, the star contains a single wish that's just waiting to be granted to a deserving individual. Puss is taking advantage of his status as a living legend by hosting a party at the governor of Del Mar's house and performing a song about his heroic deeds. Puss escapes when the governor shows up, but not before outwitting and outsmarting the governor and his guards. The sleeping giant of Del Mar is awoken by Puss after he lets out some fireworks. As the one-eyed giant tries to destroy the town, he fights an epic battle with it. Puss, employing cunning, wraps a bell around the giant's horns, which he then uses to knock the monster out cold with. Puss is crushed by the bell as he and the townfolk are celebrating his victory. Puss awakens in the local physician's office. He tells Puss that a bell killed him, but since cats have 9 lives, Puss doesn't seem to mind. Puss is forced to consider all the other times he's passed away by the doctor, including during a bullfight, a poor poker game, a fall off of a ledge, getting burned while baking cookies, with a brief cameo from Gingy the gingerbread man, being shot out of a can, being crushed by a heavy object, and having an allergic reaction to shellfish. Puss has thus reached the end of his life. The doctor advises Puss to give up his adventurous life, but the cat is certain he shouldn't be concerned. Puss is approached by an enigmatic big bad wolf while seated in a bar. He raises 2 scythes, and Puss draws his own sword at once, only to be quickly disarmed. The wolf turns out to be one of Puss's toughest opponents because he's quick and can cut Puss with his scythe. As Puss runs away, he comes to terms with the fear of the wolf and decides to put his boots away for good. Puss is adopted by Mama Luna, a cat lady, on the advice of the doctor. He first buries his cape, hat, and boots as if they were dead for good, and then he joins the other cats that don't like him at Mama Luna's house. Puss's domesticated life makes him miserable. A small dog, in fact, dressed as a cat, then greets him. The unnamed dog is referred to as Perito by Puss. As bounty hunters looking for Puss for a covert job, Goldilocks and the 3 bears, Papa, Mama, and Baby, make their way close to Mama Luna's house. When they get to Mama Luna's, they force entry and demand to know where Puss is. Baby picks up Puss, but Goldie doesn't recognize him because he has a beard and is missing his outfit. They discover his grave and choose to continue the mission using a different strategy. Puss overhears them discussing how they needed him for a heist to steal a map to the wishing star from Big Jack Horner, who's holding the map. Puss decides to resume his heroic ways and seeks out the map on his own after realizing he can make use of this wish to get his previous lives back. Puss then sneaks into Big Jack's compound, but Perito, who believes he can aid Puss, is pursuing him. Jack hopes to use the map to locate the wishing star in order to find all the magic in the world. He already owns a number of magical artifacts from other fairy tales, including Cinderella's glass slipper, poison apples, the growing cookie from Alice in Wonderland, and others. Puss reaches for the map, but Kitty Softpaws, a former flame, stops him, as Kitty has been previously hired for the job by Goldie and the Bears, but she was going to betray them anyhow. And she's also angry with Puss for the recent betrayal. The 2 battle for the map, and then when Jack stops them and pursues them, Puss and Kitty jump onto a carriage being driven by the dog to escape Jack's thugs. Then Jack gathers his baker's dozens of goons and the required magical items to retrieve the map. Puss is startled when he seems to see the wolf in the shadows just as the heroes are about to flee. Puss, Kitty, and the dog stop running and enter the dark forest through a portal to continue their journey to the star. They discover that, depending on who's holding the map, it can change the environment. When Puss and Kitty grab it, their paths are bound to be gloomy and perilous. But when Perito holds it, the path transforms into a joyful rainbow land, thanks to his unending optimism. He is permitted to hold the map by the cats. When they see Goldie and the Bears coming down, they have to move more quickly. A pocket full of posies, a field of enormous flowers that attack Puss and Kitty as they travel, must be passed by the group, but Perito becomes fond of the flowers after giving them a sniff. The cats must, in his words, stop and smell the roses. Along with Jack and his henchmen, Goldie and the Bears also come across the posies, but they have less success, and some of Jack's men are eaten or outright killed, whereas Goldie and the Bears manage to fight their way through. The main trio continues to move as Perito shares his backstory with Puss in Boots and Kitty. His original family tried repeatedly to get rid of him, but he kept coming back. So they finally succeeded in doing so by tossing him in a sock with a stone into the river. Puss and Kitty are horrified by how depressing his tale is, but Perilous finds the good in everything. He eventually finds himself straying from the group and entering a forest of vibrant hues. After Goldie and the bears arrive, a new fight breaks out, and Jack's goons are killed once more when he hits them with unicorn horns, causing them to explode into confetti. Goldie and the bears steal the map from the group during the struggle. Jack also meets a talking cricket who tries to be his conscience and see the good in him. It does not succeed. And back to Puss. Puss eventually decides to flee as the landscape transforms into a darker and more terrifying forest because he thinks the wolf is pursuing him. Puss is located by Purto, who tries to console him. He admits to Purto that he's dependent on the wish in order to survive. Puss also tells the dog what he did to anger Kitty, saying that he left her on the altar on the day of their wedding because he didn't think anyone belonged in his life of adventure. Kitty hears Puss apologize for hurting her and decides to assist him in getting back up. Goldie and the bears, as of this point, are directed to their old cottage, where they first discovered Goldie after she crept inside when she opens the map. Due to her orphan status, Goldie never had a true family before the bears adopted her. They intended to let her grant herself the wish. The trio enters the cottage covertly while waiting to be discovered. Puss steals the map back as of this point. As they make an attempt to flee, Goldie seizes Peruto and holds him as hostage. When Puss takes hold of the map, it imprisons him inside a sizable crystal cave. He gives Kitty the map so she can find Peruto, while Puss looks for a way out. Peruto observes Goldie and Baby fighting and calling each other names while telling them that they have the ideal family that he wishes he had his whole life. Peruto begins to gain favor with the bears, but Kitty is able to steal him and flee. In an argument that results from getting lost while trying to find their way back, Goldie declares that she would like to have a real family, that is, a family made up of actual human beings. The bears are devastated by this, but Mama promises to grant Goldie's wish if doing so will make her happy. When Jack tries to bring the carts across, all but one of his remaining henchmen fall to their deaths, serving as a human bridge to the next stop. As the cricket is being flicked off Jack's shoulder, he realizes that Jack is a terrible person. When Puss speaks to his first 8 lives in the cave, they all come across as arrogant jerks. The wolf's appearance causes him to lose sight of the fact that he's content with the life he's currently leading with Kitty and the dog. He claims to be death himself and has attended all of Puss's previous deaths. He's here to take Puss's soul. Puss flees in terror once more. Puss arrives at the star's location and starts to chant the wish-making chant. I wish I may, I wish I might. After talking about sharing the wish, Kitty believes Puss is betraying her once more when she and Purto arrive. Just as Goldie Bear, Jack, and his henchmen arrive, Puss tries to explain that death is coming for him. The star starts to rise off the ground, creating a force field that spits people out as they fight and struggle for the map. Goldie sacrifices her chance to fulfill her wish in order to save Baby after realizing that the bears are her true family. The henchman is sucked out, and Baby is almost pulled up to him. To save Purto, Kitty pushes Jack into his bottomless bag. The wolf then reappears and captures Puss in a fiery ring. He makes fun of Puss's fear of dying and tells him that using his wish to avoid death would be cowardly. He decides to make his final life count after reflecting on his own time with Kitty and Purto. As a result, he grabs his sword and engages the wolf in combat. Puss defeats the wolf after a bloody struggle. Enraged, he decides that another time will come for him, because he had hoped to see Puss as a roguish hero who was unafraid of dying rather than how he is now. After eating the expanding cookie, Jack emerges from his bag as the wolf departs. After Kitty demonstrates how to do it, Peruto attempts to divert him by making cute puppy eyes. He then grabs the map and starts to try to make a wish. It doesn't work on Jack because he's such a jerk, but it was only intended to buy Goldie some extra time to toss Puss and Kitty in Jack's direction, as the bears join in the fight. The star collapses as Puss, Kitty, and Goldie rip the map into pieces. A piece of the map is missing, and the cricket uses Jack's phoenix to burn it in order to completely destroy the map, while Jack tries to piece it back together. The star completely disintegrates, absorbs Jack, then shoots back into the air and explodes. Puss and his friends part ways with Goldie and the bears. Since Puss and Kitty are his new friends, Purto decides to keep using that name. Together, they sit and gaze at the stars. A few days later, as the governor prepares to leave on vacation, he discovers that his boat has been stolen, and he's certain of the perpetrators. Puss, Kitty, and Perto set sail in search of exciting new experiences as well, as Puss claims to see old friends. Then the view shifts to the kingdom of far, far away, possibly so Puss can pay a visit to a particular vile green ogre. The fabled Puss in Boots has lost 8 of his 9 lives on his many adventures, and the formerly fearless cat changes his mind when he faces the big bad wolf, who's the personification of death, his most dangerous foe. Puss is forced into retirement as a house cat, but when bounty hunter Goldilocks and the 3 bears attempt to kidnap him to use him in a heist, he's propelled back into action. They are attempting to steal the map back from Big Jack Horner because it will take them to a wishing star, which can grant the map's owner one wish. Puss believes that this will enable him to recover his lost lives and avoid death. Puss here is accompanied on his journey by a lone but happy dog he calls Perto, and by Kitty Softpaws, an old flame who's upset with Puss for abandoning her at the altar on their wedding day. Despite the fact that the bears adopted her as one of their own, Goldie wants to use the wish to locate a real human family. Jack desires to use it to control all the magic in existence. And Puss realizes after many battles in the quest for the star that his time with Kitty and Perto has made him more appreciative of his previous existence. Puss fights with the wolf when the star is finally discovered, after he decides to give up his wish. The wolf decides it's not the right time for Puss to pass away and departs, but Jack eats a magic cookie and grows enormous, allowing him to take the map. Together with Puss and his friends, Goldie and the bears battle Jack and destroy the map, which causes the star to disintegrate and shoot Jack into the sky, where it explodes. Puss and Kitty adopt Perto as one of their own, while Goldie accepts the bears as her true family. To allow Puss to see Shrek once more, the trio steal a ship and set sail for new adventures. Their first port of call is the Kingdom of Far, Far Away, and the movie ends there. If you enjoyed the recap, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the bell notification to get notified when we post the next exciting recap. It really helps the channel. Thanks for watching.